So,
Okay, so everybody.
Hi, I'm Yumi. Do you want to try some magic before we have dinner or lunch together? So here I have a regular quarter. It's heads right now. And I don't know, you can't see. Here we go. And just a regular juice cup. I'm gonna place it right over. I don't want it to fall, and just a napkin. Hopefully this will work. But I'm going to put it around this quarter. And I hope you guys could all help me say the magic words abracadabra. And we're all going to try to flip this coin from heads to tails. Okay?
Okay.
So, ready? Everybody. Abracadabra. Flip, flip. Ha! Okay, here we go. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Okay, it didn't quite work. Can you tell it's still heads?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, let's try one more time. Okay. Let's do it with 2 h's this time. Everybody. Abracadabra. Ha! Ha! Okay, ready? 1, 2, 3.
Huh.
Okay. I think this is way too easy for you guys. You got too much magical powers in this room. So let's try a 3rd time, but we're gonna put that coin through this table. So let's try the abracadabra with 3 h's, and we're gonna shove this coin through this table. Ready?
Ready.
Abracadabra. Ha! 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 All right, I think it worked. Too much magical powers. The coin's still here. I think you guys shoved the cup though down underneath the table. Let me check. You did. Very good though. You guys didn't break the class. Thank you so much. Thanks everybody. Sorry.
Right.
I know it needs a lot of practice.
That's okay. I love the energy. That was really fun. Anybody have comments for Yumi?
I love that smile. The smile made you feel like you were going to have fun before anything got started. That bright smiling face.
Well, thank you so much, Larry. It was my shield from embarrassment.
Sometimes you see someone you look. Yeah, sometimes you see someone you look at and say, I'm not going to like this person. With you, before you got started with that big smile, I just started thinking, this is going to be fun. This is going to be good.
Yeah. And there's Suzanne is a wonderful close-up magician. And
I love her. She's my favorite.
She's so fantastic. And when she lectures, one of the things that she talks about is if they like you, they'll like your magic.
Oh.
And it's really true. If people like you, you can do anything. Tell them a story. It's all a good show. They're gonna have fun. And so getting your audience to like you is that's a powerful way to start. That's a wonderful thing.
Well, thank you. I just was thinking, how can I get the audience involved?
Yeah.
It's like a real small quarters and
Sure.
Zoom, and I just thought, oh, I don't know, maybe people will help me.
Yeah, Eric.
Yeah, I loved your audience participation. It's like the ha's. I was like really into it. It's like, okay,
Thank you.
3 ha's this time. I really got into it. And then I was looking and I missed you dropped the cup because I was looking for it because I was so into the participation that the whole experience kind of overtook your sleight of hand, which is I think great.
Thank you so much. Thanks so much, Eric.
I love it.
It means a lot. Thank you.
Just
What
a
was-
thought, Yumi, for audience participation, maybe you could start out with your first magic word, and when the coin doesn't flip, say, maybe there's another magic word. Who has another magic word? we
Oh,
can
that's a
use?
good idea.
And then the third time, get somebody else to come up with a magic word.
Oh, that's great. I will keep that in mind. Thanks so much, Paul.
Good. Thank you, Paul.
I think she did a fabulous job. I don't think she needs any more practice. I thought she did really good. I thought that was a lot of fun.
Yeah,
Oh,
Yumi,
thanks
I
so
thought you
much,
did
Jackie.
great too. I really do. I've had to miss last week's class. So like I was like, I kind of knew about that trick and I'm like, I'm not sure what she's gonna do next. I thought you did fabulous.
I did for everybody else doing it. I had several adjustments I needed to make because every time I dropped that cup, it banged against my desk and it goes.
Whoa.
So I have to get a washcloth and put it down here so it doesn't make that banging noise. I think like last week, the instructor too, when it hit something, you could hear it, right? So, but this is glass, so I couldn't have it fall either. So it was challenging for me, really.
Good call. Well done. And I liked that you did your secret move far in advance.
Oh, you can tell, huh?
Well, I knew what I was looking for, but yes,
Uh-huh.
there's
Oh.
your handling of the
Things
cup
changed a little bit.
changed a little bit. Yeah.
Okay.
But that's, it's okay. Look, I know what I'm seeing. So it's, and the other note that I would give you is that when you introduced your props, you said, here I have a regular quarter and here I have a regular juice glass.
Uh-huh.
And just, you have a quarter, here's a
Oh,
quarter.
it's too
on-
much. I don't need any attention.
If you don't say regular, nobody thinks that there's anything not regular about it.
Right. Okay.
Yep.
There's a
First thing
great
crossed my mind
principle.
is, as
There's
opposed
a
to an
great-
irregular quarter.
Larry,
Yeah. Oh, I see.
there's
I
a
see.
great principle that's a maxim of magic that says, don't run if nobody's chasing you.
Yes.
There's no reason to think that there's anything fake about the glass and if you say it's a regular glass, now everybody's thinking,
Oh,
is
does
there
she
a
have
regular
something
glass?
else that's
Is there a fake
trick?
glass? What else could it be? So
Right.
you kind of send people down that line.
Got it.
That's
Thank
the other
you.
reason why, we never say I have an ordinary deck of cards, an
Oh,
empty paper bag. Just treat the bag like it's empty.
okay.
Snap it
I
open.
think it must come from, I have actually seen magicians say ordinary.
Yes,
So
magicians.
maybe-
It is a thing that magicians sometimes do, and I would say that it's a bad thing that magicians sometimes do.
Okay. Okay.
It's
Gonna
the
Lose
avoid-
that bad habit.
It's a bad. I would say it's a bad habit. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Because-
Thank you.
We may know that it's fake or gimmicked or whatever, or
Uh-huh.
that it's a quarter. I have other quarters that are faked or gimmicked, but this is ordinary.
Yes.
Doesn't know.
Yes. Yes.
So, if we don't
Okay.
bring their attention to it, you want to bring their attention to the fact that it's heads up.
Okay. Very good. Okay. I will try to refocus it on that. Thank you
There's-
so
right.
much, Sarah. No, very good advice. Thank you.
Okay, super. Okay, let's see. I think Lauren is not here. So everybody else who is going to perform today is either not here right now or has asked for an extension. So
Oh, maybe I should have asked for this.
no, Yumi, you did great. And may I keep that? May I keep your performance in the video, or would you like me to remove it?
Oh, no, it's okay.
Okay,
The embarrassing part is all part of the
You did great.
experience.
You did it very nicely.
Thanks.
Okay, so in that case, I have the pleasure of turning things over to our fabulous guest professor today from the Department of Resourcery. Drew Cardella is currently the Regional Vice President of the Society of American Magicians, which really is credential enough in and of itself, right, Drew?
That's a firm possibility of a definite maybe.
But I am a big fan of Drew's. He's, I mean, not only a great performer and a wonderful person, he has been so generous with his time and energy and expertise, and has met with me to teach me stuff, and really has contributed to the learning of a lot of magicians with, I think I've talked to you about the book club that he hosts, and really just encourages great learning about magic. And so I am, I beg your pardon. I am so pleased that Drew is here today to share a little bit about his particular interest in magic, which in the craft we call mentalism, but I don't think anybody outside really knows that word. So, so we're going to talk about mind reading.
Okay.
So welcome, Drew.
Well, thank you, Sarah. And I didn't realize asking for an extension was a possibility.
Not for you, Drew.
Well, kidding aside, could we bring back up Yumi for a second?
Yeah.
What I want, Yumi, and I mean this total sincerity, when you guys go back to watch this, I want you to watch your performance, and I want you to listen to everything that was said, because that was the first half hour of anything I was going to do. That was how to perform, why to perform, putting yourself out there. It was just, that was a textbook of example of doing it right. I know you're looking at me funny. It's like, but very, very true. Very, very true. You walked out there with the smile. Everybody loved you before you even opened your mouth. You didn't even perform yet, but you're like, here, I'm here to present. And you did a fantastic job. Yes, the trick needs practicing. But let's get past that. I'm talking everything else. You know, something I was going to mention later on, and I will when we get there. Slow down. You know, there's no reason to, and you did. You were taking your time. You were presenting. It really, really, really was a textbook performance. You know, once you get the technique down and you're comfortable in your own head there, it was fantastic. Everybody should just, I'm serious, watch her do what she did. Listen to the comments afterwards, because everything was on point. You know, and especially, and Paul, I think, had mentioned it, and someone else, forgive me, I didn't catch the name, was getting your audience involved. You had a lot of audience participation. You asked questions. This, to me, talking about magic and mentalism, I don't want to talk about mental magic or anything like that, but just two words: magic and mentalism. What's the difference? To me, magic is surprise and wonder. You know, when you do a trick, you're surprising. It's wonder and amazement to the audience. And sometimes on the magic end, it's watch me do something and you will be amazed. And with mentalism, to me, it goes one step more. It's more personal and it's more intimate. People aren't just spectators. There's actual involvement. You know, people are talking to each other. And again, to me, the way to make your magic even better is adding that audience participation to get, not just watch me, but hey, we're here to do something together. Let's have fun. You know, and you started all that by coming out exactly what you're doing now. You know, you're coming out, you're smiling, you're engaging with the audience. And I believe it was Larry who said, I was happy to see you before you even did anything. You know, I knew I was in for a good time. And that's what magic is, you know, being able to entertain, give your audience a sense of wonder, bring them back to their childhood when they had wonder, you know, and just enjoy the moment. So thank you.
Thank
100%.
you. Thank you so much. Here's my $20. I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding.
No,
thank
it's
you
fine.
so
Sarah
much.
already paid me. Credit.
Got it. Thank
But
you.
no, thank you. Thank
No,
you.
I was thinking, gosh, I want to be able to do, because the thing from last time was everyday items, right? So
Mhm.
I thought, how I want to pretend I'm sitting across from you at a dinner table and see if this,
Mhm.
what can we say and what can we do? But again, I just didn't, I just last minute thing. Like I said, I didn't have a lot of time, but I was like, how do I get people to engage with me? So it just came naturally,
You-
weirdly, but naturally.
No, you said something there very, very key. It just came naturally.
Yeah.
When you're performing, I don't care, magic, mentalism, when you're there performing, be you.
Okay.
Don't be, and again, I'm going to talk about this down the road after you see something, but the best magician you can be is you.
Thank you.
Now,
Thank you.
it could be more of an exaggerated version of you, but it's you. And people are going to relate to you. People are going to like you. People are going to connect with you. And that, without doing anything more, is going to take your magic up to another level. Case, just today, look, you said it yourself, whether we believe it or not, because that was almost pretty damn good what you did. I need more practice.
I do. I need
Okay.
practice. And
No,
before I did it
Mhm.
earlier on, I was so petrified that I got all these Post-its and I wrote a script and I put it all the way across. But
Okay.
then as
Okay.
I performed, I was so nervous, I couldn't even look at the Post-its.
It doesn't go away. I will
Oh.
tell you that. It doesn't go away. And I will tell you right now, okay? When Sarah was giving me that lovely introduction and she coughed on her words, okay? I didn't want to go there, but she did. Doing this, okay? What you see right here in front of you is a screen. You see a little table because I'm going to put something up here later. I want to keep in everybody's view. But what you do not see that's going on right here, right now in front of me, okay? I will raise up until 20 minutes before this began. I'm over here making notes in a notebook. I have, I shouldn't move this, it's all going to break. As I'm going, I've got script and presentation
Wow.
all off to the side. I've got stuff flying around here that it doesn't go away.
Okay.
It's all here. I am more nervous than you are right now doing this. And truth be told, because Sarah knows this. I was speaking to her the other day and she's like, oh, it's this Saturday. How you doing? What's going on? And I'm like, I'm beside myself. I think I'm fine. I've written a script. I've got about 8 pages here. I'm doing this. And the one thing she said to me is, I want to see your script after you do this, because I want to see how much you actually stuck to it. Because I'm going out there and wing it, but I'm not winging it because I have an idea and that comes with the practice and the whatnot, but I wanted everything for today as perfect as I can get it. So the nerves don't go away. The nerves are going to be with you.
I'm a CPA and I do SEC reporting, but on the side, all these years in the past, I kind of retired, but I was doing wedding coordinating, and it sounds like that because I like Beverly Hills Hotel, wherever we have the weddings, I have for the beginning when the pictures start or people start arriving until we put the gifts into the car, there's like a complete script, 15-minute increments. And I try to stick to it. And when I could get it within 10 minutes or 15 minutes of everything, it's great. But that's because all the unexpected things with the, other people's emotions, that's stuff that I can't prepare for. And so I just have to deal with it directly, right? If somebody says something in the audience. And so I'm winging it. But to the extent I could stick to a script, that's why I had to have at least Post-its up there, because I thought I'm gonna lose my mind, forget what I said.
We all do
Yeah.
it, and a
No.
script is only good to a point.
Right. And
Uh,
with, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, all I was gonna say was, a script is a good, solid outline. And for you, you know where you need to be. And your script, was, I'm showing the coin, I'm showing the cup, I'm showing the napkin, we're talking about flipping it, we're doing whatever. And then everything else is reaction. And that's where the connection with the audience comes in. Okay, I'm going to talk about something down the road with questions when we actually do something in a routine. And there's no right script to it. I have an outline of where I know I'd like to go. But everything else is, and this is key with everything, listen to your audience. When you ask the question or you're talking to the audience, listen to them. Have the conversation, because that's the connection. And we're going to share something here, which is your glass through table trick, which is the gentleman last week, the handcuff trick. Yes, I do watch these. But it's all that interaction. It's all that conversation. It's magic and mentalism. You're sharing a moment with somebody, my opinion, regardless of everything else that's going on, you're sharing a moment with somebody. And if you're going to engage in that person, with that person, do it. Listen to them, bounce off the things they're saying.
I
And
think
again,
listening to you now, I do feel now I probably was rushing because I asked for participation, but I wasn't probably looking at the audience and trying to engage.
Mhm.
So I should probably have done that.
Take
So
your
slow
time with it.
down, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
take your time with it. I think he's off my screen right now, but I think it was Larry who said she didn't even start yet. And I'm looking at her smiling face and I knew this was going to be good.
Okay.
You've got a moment of just standing there going, hello, how are you? And mean it. And mean it.
Yeah.
Don't be like some of the comedians out there that are like, hey, and where are you from? Cool. And whatever, but it's have the conversation and go. But I said all that just to say you did a fantastic job.
Oh,
And-
thank
and
you.
Everything that
These are the
performance
hearts.
capsulizes is right there. No, my time is
you.
done. That was perfect. So thank you all very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Well,
I'll go back in the corner now.
along the same lines, and to go back to Suzanne a little bit as well. When you write your script, we start by writing. Oh, thank you. We start by writing a script, and we plan to, we're going to memorize the script and we're going to go through line by line, and that's fine. That's let's say plan A. Then you have spaces where you can have interaction, and you've got to listen and see. You're leading, you're doing a show, but you're going to ask the audience to do something, but it's very structured, and that's sort of level B. Then you get to a place where it's a little more free form, and you can invite your audience to participate and guide things a little bit. And your audience member that you're talking to is gonna tell you where to go to a certain extent, and then you're gonna bring them back around to where you need to be for the next trick, or to finish, or to make sure that whatever happened, needs to happen happens. So Suzanne, again, talking about the same kind of thing, talked about beats, and how she knows that there's a place where she has to end up in order to do the next phase of the trick. But she starts the first phase and she invites the audience member to contribute something, and then they're going to talk about that. And she has no idea what they're going to say in response to her question, or what they're going to talk about, or what's going to happen in that interaction. It's genuine, in the moment, personal interaction. And then she's going to somehow guide it to the next beat that she then needs to end up at the question, or at the word, or at the topic of whatever the thing is. And so it makes it so that every show is a little different. And that's a powerful thing for an audience when they know that it's not just the same show. It's not like watching a recording of a magician. Every show is different because every spectator is different and you never know what they're going to say. And the fact that you're sort of interacting with them in real time makes it, that's live theater. That's why we love it.
You know, she's my favorite magician, like female magician. So I'm so happy that you brought her name up. I would love to catch a show. Is she part of the SAM as well? Is that, or you invite her to be a speaker sometime?
I don't know if she's a member of the SAM. But I can certainly invite her to our next class to say hello and speak for a few minutes. I'll see if she's available.
Oh, that would be so cool. I just saw her at the castle once, but
yeah.
she's so good.
I'm a huge fan of hers. She's fantastic. But the the idea that it's, that the more freeform it gets, kind of the more authentic and in the moment and exciting it becomes, and it comes with practice, and the ability to do that comes with experience, and you lose that. One of the reasons that when I start a new piece, I keep very closely to my script is because I don't know where else it's going to go. I'm not comfortable with it yet. Once I get comfortable with it, once I've performed it a bit, then I know how it's going to unfold, and then I can open up a little bit and let my audience drive things a little more. I can be more flexible.
So when you say script, you're actually writing it, right? Like
100%.
It's not just like tons of practice so you know it. Script,
no, I have a written script.
Written, just like Drew showed.
Just like Drew showed you. I could try. I don't have it printed out. It's on my computer. But yeah, when I create a new piece, I have a written script, and and that's what I'm going to do, because that's the plot that I've planned. Once I've gotten comfortable with the piece, then I can let my audience, I can diverge from that a little more. I can feel, oh, this might be a funny joke. Let's try it. Okay, that worked. Oh, that didn't work. We're not going to do that again. And you realize that, when you're performing more, the more experience you get, the more comfortable you get with taking those risks, because first of all, if I say something and it bombs, it is not the end of my life. It is not the end of my show. You kind of pick yourself up and you go, okay, that didn't fly. That wasn't funny. All right, moving on. And you kind of you keep going and you go, okay, I'm not going to do that joke again, or maybe I'll try it again, but in a different way. But you lose the fear of taking that risk. That if experience teaches you that if you do get off topic, or you lose the thread, or you forget the next line, or you have an audience member say something really unexpected, or any number of things, that you can come back from that. You learn techniques to get back into your rhythm. You get better at getting back to the next beat in your script. That taking a risk is not is not the end of the world if it doesn't work out for you. So, and that's something that you can really only learn from doing it. So, Drew, I'm gonna kick it back to you because you've got stuff to teach.
And it's the one more thing with scripting. And again, it was what you guys were doing and already talking, and what Yumi did, and I believe, hold on one second, it was John last week with his handcuff routine. What good magic, what good mentalism, what good performing is, everything you do should have a good storyline and a presentation, because sometimes it's not so much the trick. I mean, again, I'm going to go backwards to John last week. He started off with his story about how he was a police officer and he became a lawyer. I'm just thinking this was, he was halfway through the trick and he had me with him before I realized he was actually doing something. So that is the type of engagement that you're looking for. The man was telling you a story about his life and you're sitting there listening. And then all of a sudden he pulls out the silk and I'm like, oh, okay, well, now we're having fun.
Yeah.
And
Sorry, go ahead.
no, I was gonna say, and I'm with him the whole way. It was a good trick. The trick itself was a second. That release, it was just a second. That's all it was, the moment. But everything that led up to that was the audience engagement, was him telling about a piece of himself to an audience. Now, I know it happens to be true, but whether it's true or not, your story, make it believable. But the point is, have a hook, have an engagement, have a presentation, and that's where the story and the outline come from. Yumi herself, just a few moments ago, was talking about the coin, and we were having fun with her, and that's the story. Sarah, I cut you off. I'm sorry.
No, that's okay. I forgot what I was going to say. Sorry.
Nope, it'll kick back in. The other part with scripting, and we're going to roll right into it now, is sometimes it's written for you, and you don't realize it. I'm talking to the choir right here, but this is one of the greatest books out there in magic and mentalism and just magic in general. There is so much in here. This specific book has been by my bedside forever. And every time I start to do a show or look for something, I'm always looking in here first to pick up an idea, to pick up a method, to pick up something that I can build off of. Now, Sarah's giving me looks because she thinks I'm kidding.
No.
But to continue.
That's just what my face looks like, Drew.
No. The other part is I used to carry a little one in my backpack and suit, which is the exact thing as that, but it's all small. And this would stay in my office desk drawer. And I got bored at work, I would continue doing there. If you continue with Mark Wilson, there are so many other Mark Wilson books out there, all based on that big book. So this is like the card tricks from the book. This is just some instant magic tricks, some money things. We're going to be working out of, for me anyway, it's out of that big book, but I pulled what we're pulling out of here. The mentalism section in that book was here, but the reason why I used here, it's bigger print and I can't see as well as I used to anymore. So everything is in here. And sometimes the second thing that we're going to do, the script was basically written out of the book. So as you're learning something, learn, my opinion, learn verbatim from whatever the book gives you, whatever the directions tell you, learn the technique, learn the script. Once you have that, I know how to do the trick, then expand and add yourself into it. And that's how a routine, a magic trick becomes yours. You add your style, your personality. Umi with the high, I mean, no one else is going to do that. That is you. So it's just perfect. What we're going to try now, see, this is like all the big differences, what is magic? What is a mentalist? All good questions, all good questions. When you go to see a magician, you have a specific expectation from the magician. You know what a magician does. So that's what you expect. That's what you're getting. But what does a mentalist do? What exactly is a mentalist? If you were to go to a show and you said, I see one, what should you expect to see? Okay, good questions, good questions. Some people might say a mentalist has the ability to see the future. Let me demonstrate. A mentalist, maybe before anything begins, before he even says he's going to do something, might show you an envelope that's sealed. He may even tell you that this envelope contains a prediction. But not just any prediction, a targeted prediction. Targeted to something that was going to happen in the next few moments. Okay. Maybe. But let's make it a little bit more exciting and unbelievable. For our demonstration, I'm gonna do it, but if I was talking to someone in the audience, and this would be more of a stage setting. I'm just going to use a name. Karen, you're on my screen right now, so I'm just going to use your name. Hi, nothing for you to need to do. Just sit back, relax, and enjoy. But today, this is Karen performing. And Karen, what I'd like you to do, I'd like you to think of any word you'd like, any word in the English language, okay? But I just don't want you to think of any word. I want you to think of a word that you didn't even think that you'd be thinking of right now. That's the type of word I want you to think about. But how are you going to think of a word that you wouldn't even know what you were thinking about? Good question. We'll start here with this magazine. In this magazine, there are thousands of words that you could be thinking about that you wouldn't even realize you were thinking about till you thought about it. They can be any word that's in here. So what you're going to do is take this magazine that has thousands of words in it, and you're going to put it behind your back. Now, at this point, usually this is a stage performance or, parlor, you're around people. So you give the person the magazine and you would say, please, and you were going to put this behind your back. And you're going to open it to a random page. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take this Sharpie marker. You're also going to put it behind your back with the magazine. And behind your back, without looking, you're going to take the marker and draw an X from corner to corner. And we're going to come up with a targeted word. And that's exactly what happens. The participant takes the magazine and the marker, goes behind their back. Oh, I shouldn't have done this with a high back chair. Okay. Opens up the magazine anywhere, takes the marker and draws an X. Brings back out the marker, brings out the magazine. We close up the marker. All done? Perfect. So let's open up the magazine and see what we find. So you would then start flipping through the magazine and let me put this in frame here. You could, we got pictures. I hope we didn't pick one with a picture. There are some words. I don't see an X yet. Oh, there's an X. Okay. So what happened? You thought of any of the thousands of words in the English language. You targeted one word. Where does the X meet? It's not exact, but could we say that's bacon?
I can't really see the word, but I will, if that's, I'll take your word that it's bacon. Looks like it's got too many letters for bacon, actually. Where the X crosses, where the two lines cross.
Where the two lines, let's do it this way. Where the two lines meet.
Yes.
Can we say that's bacon?
I couldn't say it's bacon because I can't read it. But
All right.
I would,
Anybody
maybe
else
somebody else
agree,
can.
disagree?
There's bacon right above it.
There's bacon right above it, but we're going for the word bacon, which is about where the X meets, right there.
It looks like bacon.
Okay.
It looks like there's two letters with below the line. Yeah. Okay, I'll take.
It's close.
It
It's
looks
close.
like
The X
bacon.
didn't hit the spot completely, but that's the closest word we got to, which is bacon.
Okay.
So what happened here is before we even started, we had this sealed envelope. And not just any sealed envelope, a sealed envelope that had a prediction in it, a targeted prediction. And there's only one piece of paper that comes out. And the word we kind of agreed on was bacon.
Yes, we kind of agreed it's bacon. Bacon.
Bacon. And that would be a good feeling when your target actually hits. That out of the book is the magazine test. Real simple to set up. It is more of a stage performance. Close up or like obviously over Zoom doesn't play perfectly. Has anybody read it? Has anybody seen it yet?
Magazine test is page 322.
Okay. All you need. You see, the other thing about mentalism, which is fun, it doesn't always use a lot of props and things. but the props and things that you do use, you would normally see. A magazine, and it is a legit magazine. It's Harry Styles from the upcoming, it's the June issue. It's a Sharpie marker, an envelope. Now, I did this with the envelope because this is the way the book described it, that it has a prediction envelope and you're pulling the prediction out. You can also, with a lot of things, we'll get into that to the next one. You can do a pad. If you have this prepared, you can write out the word, take the paper out and give it to someone to hang on to and say, this might be important to us in the next few minutes. And then once you get the word, oh, really, that piece of paper I handed you before, what does it say? And that would say bacon as well. So there's different ways to do it. You can preset, or you can do what we would talk on the fly, even though everything here is preset. Real simple. Any magazine. If I was doing this stage, I just grabbed a magazine I had around the house. There are a lot of photographs in here. I would try and pick one that has more words. We used to do this with Reader's Digest. Yeah, I'm dating myself. Reader's Digest, Time Magazine, anything that has word dense, in there. And then what you would do is you would pick a page, any page you want with words, and draw an X. More importantly, do not draw a proper X. Do not make it straight. Do not go with rulers. Do not make it exact. Because remember, it's behind somebody's back. And they're not going to be able to draw a perfect X. So what you're doing ahead of time is simulating, because you're pre-predicting, you're forcing that word, which is bacon. So also, if you can, don't come exactly over it. Try and be a little off, where that X hits, but close enough to where everybody can agree that would be the word. In a more perfect world, I would have had that X a little bit higher. But I will tell you, drawing the X crooked and aiming for a word, this was the 6th attempt in a different magazine. And to find an interesting word, bacon was interesting. You try to avoid the words like the and with the, it's not really an exciting word to reveal. Bacon, it's an exciting word to reveal. A long word, appreciating, spectator, avalanche, if you can find words, large words like that, handwriting, character, a large word, those are more interesting to reveal. I have another one, sandwich, but it's a large, more interesting word than but, the, and, if. So that's what you're looking for. So your magazine is set up to force a word. Obviously, then you'd write the word on something, put it in an envelope. Didn't matter today because I was the one who was doing it, but the Sharpie is also gimmicked. You cannot write with this Sharpie. So the audience member going behind the back and drawing can't draw. They can't make an X. So they can open anywhere they like. They can draw, and they know they're drawing, they're feeling it, they're writing, they're doing, but there is nothing coming out of this marker. How do we do that? Even simpler. It's regular Sharpie. Take off the cap. Leave it out. It dries up. Just let it dry. It may take a week. It may take 2 days, depending upon the Sharpie. And then I had hidden. Okay. I left this in a desk drawer. on this piece of paper. And then every couple of days, every so often, I would go and just draw, scribble, just to empty it out even more. And when I knew it was empty, you take some clear nail polish and coat the end. Now, in this specific instance, I asked my wife, honey, I need clear nail polish. I need this done. And she goes, I have black. Perfect. Give me the black nail polish and put that on. So for all intents and purposes, it's a marker. It looks like a marker. There's nothing there, but I can draw all day with this and nothing is going to, she heard her name, she's coming over, make a mark or do anything. This effectively does not write. I will tell you too, I'll leave it up to your fun to research. It's not only used for this routine. It's perfect for this routine because that's what it is. But there are many times in mentalism, you're going to pretend to write something and you may need a marker like this. So you make it once, use it for that routine. You're gonna find different uses for it. That's the other thing with magic. That's the other thing with mentalism. Once you learn a technique, a method, an idea, you can apply it to different things. You're not just limited to the item that you're working on in the moment. When you use your imagination, down the road, you have this in your back pocket now. You know how to make a Sharpie that doesn't write. A year from now, you could be reading a book, a magic book, and it comes up that now you just need a marker that doesn't write. Oh, I've got that. I know how to do it. It's already in my drawer. So you may come up with a routine for yourself that you're doing pretend writing. You've got what you need. That's real important. And performing, I'm going to go backwards a little bit. Well, let me ask the question. Does anybody have any questions on setting it up or anything like that? Karen,
I have
go
a
ahead.
question.
Please.
I have a question. I know it's behind their back, so maybe they can't tell, but does anybody ever know which side of which page side they picked,
No.
Okay.
No, this is another, Sarah said the words before. This is another form of don't run when you're not being chased. If you treat everything here, this whole routine, besides the prediction, which somebody ahead of time knows I did something here, because I told them I wrote something down. We predicted something, but everything else is totally gimmicked. A question that comes up with this is, what if they open up the magazine in CVX before they do anything? What if they take the marker and they go to write and it doesn't write? Exactly the question you asked. Well, what about if they know where they opened up to? It's one of those things where I have to say they don't. It really doesn't come up. It's one of those things, it just works. If you come out and perform any routine with confidence, and the confidence you're only going to get is from performing something. Going back to Yumi's presentation before, when she came out and said it's an ordinary quarter. And then everybody goes, oh, what's the difference? What's an ordinary quarter? Why should I be thinking about the quarter? I'm not coming out and saying this is an ordinary Sharpie. I got a Sharpie. Everybody knows what a Sharpie is. I got a marker. I don't even have to say Sharpie. I got a marker. I've got a magazine. Just pop it behind your back. And the other thing too is where I say, where we said, move slow, talk slow. This is one of the instances where you may want to move a little bit quicker, because you're not giving them time to think, oh, I'm popping off 3 pages, so I know where I'm at. But when when I open up the magazine, he's halfway through. That doesn't sound right. You know, you're moving things a little bit so that you're working in your favor. So it's put it behind your back, pop it open, put the marker down, do that X that we showed, because you're showing everything ahead of time of what you want. And now it's just take the props, go do it. It takes a second. Come back out. They hand you everything and you're just going through. There's one more gimmick in this that you will never ever use, and just to not to belay a point. I've gimmicked this magazine one more time, and unless I say it, no one's going to know it, because I know it's one of the lags in the routine. You're never going to do this on stage. You're never going to do it, but because it's Zoom, I can. I didn't want to go hunt I wanted to be able to do this, to find that X. And whenever I want to, I can get to it. Because everything after this page, I have Scotch taped. This is a big block. This is a big block. You can't open any further. I've got, I don't know if you can see this. I've got these things Scotch taped together this way, like a grip. So from the front, I can flip as many pages as I want. And when I'm ready, I just go to that block and it's right there. So for Zoom to move things a little bit quicker and to try and find it, because you'd be down this way looking out of frame, or up this way where it's a little bit awkward, but it gives me the opportunity to flip it. And then whenever I think I'm ready, you know, we've got words there, we've got this, I can just get to that page, because everything here is just taped together. It's one block. In essence, it's one big cover, if that makes sense. You're never going to use that in a real performance, because yes, somebody will feel that, you know, in their hands. Somebody will drop to that and it'll automatically open to that. You won't use that. But for here, it's perfectly fine, but it adds to the point. Unless I bring it up, no one is going to notice. You know, no one's going to ask, how did you find it? How did you get to that X so quick? He must have known where it was. No one's going to ask that.
A couple of things I wanted to add, if I may.
Absolutely.
One is that, you know, in terms of what is the audience member, what is your volunteer going to perceive or look for? Your audience volunteer has absolutely no idea what they're there to do and what you're going to do with whatever they are asked to produce or do or whatever. So they don't have enough information to go try and figure out what's going to happen next, or to think through, you know, well, where might the trick be? Because they have no idea how what they're about to do is going to be useful. So they're not even thinking about that happening yet. You're just, the way that you're talking to them, you're just setting up what's going to happen. You are picking the thing that will then be important.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know that it's already, the picking's already been done for them. So they're not, their brain is not like clicking in that way yet. They're not trying to figure it out yet. And the other is that your audience takes their cues from how you treat the information or the object that you're using or talking about. If you are casual about it and act like it doesn't matter, your audience will believe it doesn't matter. So, I mean, there's you know, there are fantastic magicians who'll say, you know, okay, so, you know, all right, we need a card here, take a card and we'll do this and we'll do that, and then put it in the deck. And what they literally did was they picked the card for you. They didn't even have to force a card on you. They took a card from the deck and said, this is going to be your card.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the card that's been pre-set up with something. But because they acted casually about it, as the audience member, you're like, all right, I guess it doesn't matter. You're not proving to me 5 ways that this is fair. It doesn't matter. And you know, it's you know, by how you handle something. If you handle something as though it was precious and important, your audience will focus on it. If you're casual about something, your audience will take its cues from you. It's so there are lots of psychological theories and explanations for this, but I go back to Drew's explanation, which is, it just works.
Mhm.
Generations upon generations of magicians have crafted these solutions, and they work.
Mhm. No, absolutely. And a couple more quick things to add into that, just for yourself. When it comes to this, understand something. And what Sarah had said, nobody knows what's happening yet. The audience doesn't really have an expectation yet. They're following along with you. Just remember, it's your show or experiment. It's your show, it's your trick, it's your experiment. You make the rules. Sometimes the only justification for doing something is because you said so. And the other part to that is, going back to the very, very beginning, is your character, is who you are, who's your performance style. Now, using me specifically, this is me. Okay, I perform as me, or as more of a hyper version of me, but it's me. My character, my persona, gives me whatever power I need out there. It gives me my reason, it gives me my justification, the way I relate to people, the way I can say things to somebody, the way I expect them to react to me. Your character allows you to do what you do, how you do it, and why you do it, and how all that makes sense. So you can get away with things within your character. Do we all know, like this? Do we all know Max Maven? Do we know if I use, all right? Max Maven is the most phenomenal mentalist out there. I cannot be Max Maven. I cannot do what Max Maven does. Now, I can do some of his routines, but I cannot do it like Max Maven. I cannot get away with what Max Maven says. I cannot get away with the way he acts. No one can. But if you take the routine that he does, whatever it is, and you like it, and you can fit it to your character, where you have the same moment, the same thing happens, but you're the one who's doing it and you're the one who's connecting, it makes it yours. I rambled there a minute, but does that make sense? I just want you to walk away with, you can do most anything out there if you believe you can. It's your belief in what you're doing. It's your belief in it's your belief in your magic is really what it is. And I don't mean your technical skill. I mean in what you can do. I knew that was coming to a successful conclusion. Why? Because I set it up that way. I knew where it was going. Nobody is really going to question. And if they do, if by instance, I'm going to turn back to, well, I knew where it was, or I did it on what side, this specific piece, talking specifically, is done usually in a larger audience setting. That person might have known, might have figured, might have thought something, but you've got an audience of 200 or 300 that loved it. And sometimes that's the best you can hope for too. Somebody might have thought something, I didn't look right, didn't feel right when I did it. But the rest of the audience is going to be, wow, they're going to have that moment. And the other part to that is, because this specific routine, again, there would have been more connection, there would have been more involvement, there would have been more talking to, we would have talked about the pictures, the articles, there would have been a whole bunch more banter going on, specific spectator involvement and conversation. That person would have been with me the whole time. There wouldn't have been a question, because it would have been set up as fun, and they want to have fun too. So I hope that all made sense to everybody. Does anybody have any more
I think Karen had a question.
Okay, sure. I'm sorry. Karen, go ahead.
I actually have three quickies. One, why the polish on the tip? What does that do for it?
Just to make sure you can't write with it.
Ah, got it. Okay.
It puts, clear nail polish is fine. Again, nobody's taking this and holding it so close that it bears inspection. And they'll see a sheen over it. I had black nail polish, so it blends in even more. But regardless of how I now write, there's nothing, if it didn't dry out 100%, there's nothing coming out of that anymore. It's just an extra.
Got it. And
action.
then sometimes when I had a dry marker, it almost squeaks when it's on the paper and it doesn't quite feel right. That doesn't happen.
Here. I've got a blank pad. I'm going to try and hold it up to the microphone too.
Okay.
Well, a very little is coming, but
Yeah, there's that squeak.
but sometimes I was lagging there a little bit. Sometimes it's what you want, because if I'm doing something that I'm pretending to write,
I mean, a working marker also squeaks.
yeah. Now that was the gimmick, right? This one is not. This is I'm going to write something. No difference.
Okay. Okay. Great.
No difference in sound.
Yes.
Again, it's one of those things. Yeah, it might be something to think about. You know, does it cause the audio? But in this specific instance, it only adds. It only adds to the illusion that something is happening because someone's expecting to hear that squeak.
Then, and the third question, you know, with like a deck of cards, magicians will riff, if that's the right word, to be able to get back to where they want to get to. If you were performing live so that you couldn't tape the magazine, is there a possibility of somehow doing something similar to get to the right page?
You could, and no one might know that. Because of where we're performing right now, I can tape this up and no one's going to know. But there's no reason why at the bottom of the page, I couldn't crease a corner that I can see and find and get to. But in the routine itself, I think looking for the X could also be another point of having fun with the spectator. Oh, you could have been here, but you didn't. Oh, this would have been a nice word. Or what about this? Or, you know, you're still having fun. Oh, we found a photograph. You can talk about the photograph. You know, you'll get yourself to that page. And also, I know, without looking at that, because I did it, I know I'm on page 60. That's where the page is. So even as I'm thumbing through it, I can just find it in 2 or 3 to go look. It's not that it's hidden. I can get to it. I can, so like I said, I can, you're never going to mark the page like I did there, block it off, but you can twist a corner that you can get to quicker. No one's really going to notice, even if you not even twist it, but snip it and you give yourself a short page and you can click right to that. If you know the page, because you're setting it up, I know it's at page 60. So if I open it on page 34, I can skim 5, 6 more, you know, I can get to there quicker. So hopefully that answered.
Yes, thank you.
Okay. I'm going through notes here too. So there's a lot that goes on through these things verbally. So just as you go through things, you know, you're also slowly, with this one specifically, getting away from the magazine at one point. At the end of it, you did the magazine, you found the X, just remember the word is bacon. Everything is down, everything is away, and then the focus becomes the prediction. And you go back to what you said. Karen, you could have thought of any word. The beginning of my script was, you could have thought of any word in the English language. Out of the thousands of words out there, what was the word we thought about?
Bacon.
Bacon. The magazine's gone, the pen is gone. No one, we kind of skipped that you actually did that process.
Right.
But we're coming down to, you could have thought of any word out there. And what did you think of?
Bacon.
Bacon. And we have the one piece of paper, the one prediction with the word bacon. Two quick things on this. All presentation. It is in the envelope. It's the only prediction in there. Yes, you can seal it. I did not seal it, even though I said it was sealed. I just tucked everything in. Why? Because I've done this several times today, practicing, playing. I wasn't going to rip an envelope each time to do that. But for your presentation, a couple of things just to think about. When you show the envelope empty, which it is, and you're pulling out the prediction, in the heat of performing, you see how I'm moving things around? I don't know how I'm going to reveal bacon. Meaning, if I was to open it like this, not a good thing. So how do I prevent that? Two things. I have bacon. When I folded the paper to put in the envelope, I let it overlap just a little bit. So there's a lip here. Okay, what does the lip do? It allows me just to open it. It's that little bit that I can grab. It's that little bit that flips. See what's happening? That I can just grab and make it, as opposed to what I just tried to do there. If it's a piece of paper folded edge to edge that I'm trying to get. The other, just for orientation, what you don't see is at the top. I don't know if I'll get that. Is a little pencil dot. And that's on both sides. So regardless of how I open it up and do, I'm looking at the top. I see a pencil dot. I know I'm right side up. And automatically, because of that piece, I can open. If I took it out and I don't see the pencil dot, but I'm going to see it down there, just know as we're talking, I can turn it back over and then show. It's a minor point, but I think is very important just in the presentation of something. So hopefully that adds to that.
That's great. I mean, it's a little thing, but it makes the end so much more powerful when, you know, you're not fumfering for it and trying to find it and, oh, you can't see it. And, you know, when you open it up and bam, it's there. You know, that's it's a small thing, but it really makes the ending pop.
We try not to fumfer. That is exactly correct.
Making fun of me?
No, not at all. I like the words. I like the words. And I got a feeling I'm rambling too much here. So this is, let's try one. Does anybody have any questions?
Just one further thought. Could you find the same word in two magazines, prepare both, and then give the audience participant a choice to make it even a little more wild?
I am glad you brought that up. I am glad. I wanted to shoot past that for time, but I am so glad you brought that up, and I will bring it up later on in this routine that we're going to do now. What you're asking for in the, oh, here we go. Rabbit hole, love them. Okay, so in the routine that you just saw, and the way it was laid out in the book, you have a magazine, and you give a magazine to do. the way I would perform this, the way Karen was doing, if we're doing on stage, it's really nice to give people choices. Whether it's your choice or their assumed choice, okay? I would have 3 magazines out there. Now, could you gimmick all 3 of them and have a different word in each, and then you know which envelope to grab, you know, when you do it, or an envelope with a 3-way out, you know, that sort of thing. Way beyond the scope of this, but yes. The other way is something that's called, in its simplest form in the book, Magician's Choice. I don't know, have we covered that anywhere else?
We have not.
Okay. Talk about fun. And we are going to talk about that in this routine coming up. And I will jump back to the magazine to use it, because once it goes to what I said before. Once you have a method, a technique, an idea, you can use it so many different ways. And a technique that we're going to learn now can seriously be applied to this. And to go one more step, you do not have to do magazines. It could be a book. You know,
No, never write in a book.
The dollar store books you're allowed.
I don't know.
So you can do it with a book and but not here. Here is magazine. But you do have those options. So can I table that one for a few minutes?
Sure,
'Cause we don't know
absolutely.
about it.
Yeah, I want to throw out one more thing, because and I don't think we need to get too deeply into it, but of course the reveal here is this piece of paper in the envelope, the prediction. Once you know that the reveal is bacon, or whatever your word is, the world is your oyster. You can reveal this anywhere. If you're doing it in a restaurant, you know, wave to the waiter comes over with a plate of bacon. You know, whatever, you know, it could be anything, you know, and bacon is a fun example, because it's a thing that, you know, and you wouldn't necessarily expect to find it anywhere. You could produce bacon from somewhere. You could, you know, it's a picture of bacon. It's a, you know, whatever it is, but it's anything that you can do to make that an additional surprise. You know, that works with your character, you know, that's an opportunity to really have fun with it. So, you know, the written prediction, it's classic, it's simple, it's been sitting there the whole time, it's great. You can also just, you know, go nuts with it.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And again, it goes back to, once you have a something and a method idea, and you now know the routine, your reveals can be so different. It doesn't have to be the envelope. Like Sarah said, you're in a restaurant talking bacon and the guy comes by with a plate of bacon. Could happen, you know, or you're at a restaurant, or we did an outdoor festival, and there's a billboard, and on the billboard is a picture of something. And if you can force that something, if you can have them pick that something, and it's like, well, this was out here before it even started. Why don't you look over there?
Wow.
And there's a something.
Oh, that's great.
Another thing with magic and mentalism in general is always take advantage of your situation, take advantage of where you're at. You'll always find something. The next routine, we're going to talk about the 3-way test. This is another one that there are so many props with this that are out there, but you don't need them. And this is another one that relies a lot for me on audience participation, audience interaction. We may not catch that on the Zoom, but you can take this even further than what we're doing. Now, Karen, you walked away from me.
I was just grabbing the drink. Here, wait, I'll come back.
It's okay.
Just grabbing the drink.
I think for you, you might want to be involved in that, because we were talking about what a mentalist can do before. But is it all they can do is just see the future? there are different sciences that go along with what a mentalist is. You know, where a magician will do, you might expect tricks. From a mentalist, you would expect experiments. Perhaps not an experiment, not only in prediction, but experiments in other things. And we'll play with that. I'll put this to the test. I'm going to get 3 of you to help me, please. Now, 2 of you we already know. Julie, I had asked you to gather up some objects. Some of you may or may not know, I spoke to John, and what I asked John to do was to please grab some change. I don't know how much change he has. I don't even hope he doesn't even know, but he's got a pile of change in front of him. Julie has several objects, and the one thing I'm going to deviate from the book, just because while all this is going on, I would be drawing 3 symbols. In the book, it is a triangle, square, and circle. Just so you guys can see, I'm not going to draw anything, but Karen, you're going to help me out later with, I have 3 symbols, a circle, a plus sign, and a square. Just things that we would all recognize. Okay, and I'm going to leave these up here for now. So we have 3 different types of experiments that we can do. Who did I ask for? John, you've got a small amount of change there, right? Some quarters, nickels, dimes, pennies, what have you.
Yes, I do.
Okay, don't look at them.
Okay.
But they're in a pile. What I want you to do is just take a handful, and you determine what a handful is, right? And keep them in your fist where you don't even know what's in there, and I certainly don't know what's in there. And we're going to start an experiment that's called clairvoyance. Now, clairvoyance is the ability to see hidden objects, and that's what we're going to attempt right now. You've got some change hidden in your hand right now. You should probably not know how much you have. I certainly don't know how much you have. And I'm going to try and get an impression and write that down. Before I do, we have these cards up here. I'm going to take these away. Why? Because I'm going to put this into view. Okay, so give me a second. I'm just going to take a piece of paper. I am going to hold them up a little higher. Okay. Let me think about this. John's also a lawyer, huh? How much money would he really have?
If clients pay.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Let me think about this for a second. Okay. All right. Don't open your hand. I've made my prediction in the piece of paper. We're just going to fold that up, and what we're going to do is just label this because experiment A. Okay, and I just want to put it out of sight. Just out of curiosity now, how much money is in your hand? How much did you hold?
Let's see. 50, 60, 73 cents.
73 cents. Okay, good. Just remember the 73 for later. Okay, so that was experiment 1 in clairvoyance. Where is she on my screen? Julie. Hi, Julie.
Hi.
We're going to try another experiment right here, an experiment in telepathy. Now, telepathy is the ability to pick up an impression that you already have in your mind. Now, what I asked you to do, I didn't tell you which one. I just to gather up some objects.
Right.
That you have in front of you. How many do you have?
I have 5 objects.
5. Okay. I want you to concentrate on one of those objects.
Okay.
Okay. bring your eyes back and forth across them, but I want you to focus in on one of them. I want you to focus your concentration on just one of those items. Do not touch it. Do not pick it up. Do not say anything. But I want you to have that object firmly in your mind.
Okay.
Okay? Because I'm going to write down my impression of what object you have. You have 5 of them, you said, right? Okay.
Correct.
I was hoping for 3 to make my life easier, but 5. Okay. Okay. I think I've got it. So don't say anything yet. I'm
Mhm.
going to do this. We have them folded up. Let me just move this here. And this was experiment B.
Okay.
Okay, we'll just take it, pop it in the cup. What object now, just for everybody else, grab it and hold it up and show everybody what it is. What is it?
It's matches.
Matches. Okay, very good. That was more than one object. There's matches, a lot of matches in there, but okay, matches. Okay, so now for our last experiment, we are going to do an experiment in what's called precognition. And that's going to be me and Karen. Karen,
Yes.
what precognition is the ability to predict a certain result before it actually happens. So before I show you, before we do anything, I am going to think about this for a second. Okay, look at me. Oh, and the eyebrows went up too. Okay, I know that look. I'm in trouble before we even started. Okay. All right, let me go with that. Just gonna fold it up, and you are experiment C. Right in the cup. Okay, so I have 3 basic symbols, a circle, plus sign, and a square. Now, it's going to seem weird, but if you were here, I'd ask you to take 2 of them. So which 2 would you like to take?
The 2 on the end, the square and the circle.
You're taking the square and the circle. Okay, so you have the square and the circle. Take 1. Which one do you want?
Square.
You want the square, leaving me the circle. Okay, perfect. So I'd like you to remember the circle. Let's go back to the other experiments. Let's see how we did. Everything was here. There really is nothing else in the cup. Let's start with A. Who is my experiment with A? Where was my A person? That would have been John, right? Can we bring John up with me? I don't know where we're at. Let's do this. Speaker. Okay, everybody's up. Okay, I was in gallery. John, you are experiment A. We asked you how much change you had in your pocket. You were, how much change did you have?
73 cents.
73 cents. If I was to open that up,
Yeah.
73 cents. Experiment number 1, a hit. Usually if I get lucky, that's about as far as it goes. But I've got 2 more to try here. Still up there. This is experiment B. Now this is with Julie. Hi, Julie. Julie, you had several objects in your hand or in front of you that were out of sight, and you were focusing and concentrating on one of them.
Right.
What were you concentrating on?
The matches.
The matches.
Oh, man.
You most certainly will. Give yourself a round of applause there, Julie. That is fantastic. And finally, my friend Karen, with experiment C. you had a couple of symbols to look at. And what was the symbol that we finally focused on?
Zero.
The zero. I'll
The
go with a
circle.
zero. And that is your three-way test. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Give you a round of applause.
There is so much going on there, but
There sure is.
there is so much fun. Everybody hang out and we'll go through this. Well, first off, did we enjoy it? Not so much, but did you get a moment of wow? It was like, cool.
Now, remember the moment of wow, because once you know how it's done, you may not feel the wow.
Yeah, wow becomes
I think
awe.
I guessed it, so I didn't get the wow.
Me
so-
too.
Well, what's nice about this is that this is a routine. If you have some paper, a pen, and people, you can do this. It doesn't have to be a notepad. We can talk about this later on. It could be the index cards. It could be, your business card. It could be what have you. Anything that you want, you can do. I will tell you, there are magic props that cost hundreds that do what's in that book. Okay. There are different ways to play. There are different ways to have fun with it. This is what we were talking about script before. Sometimes the script is written for you. 90% of what I said before was verbatim out of the Wilson book. I mean, that's the script. They framed it as different types of ability, the telepathy, the precognition, and all that. I just rolled with what was in the book so that you guys had. If I was to sit and do this, I might still do the same thing. And for me, I'd play it up a little bit more, because maybe I can do it, maybe I can't do it, who knows? But won't it be fun to try? And it just becomes a game. The only thing I did ahead of time, just for time, was asking two people ahead of time just to gather some things up, but we didn't say I had 73 cents or I was going to pick the matches or anything like that. This is definitely something you're doing real time, meaning in the moment. Nothing is set up, nothing is staged. You're doing this on the fly, and it's fun. So let's just go through it. We'll use the same things we spoke about before. You've got a pad of paper to make your notes. This is where it gets confusing, because you got to think things out. Because, and the other thing you might need is, they say coffee cup in the thing, which is fine. You just can't see through it. You can put it under something. You can even give it to somebody to hold in their hand. Just hold it tight. This is where you may see, will they look at it? Just do it. Put it in your hand, hold it tight. Don't open it, because I don't want anyone else to see it. Give me a reason why it's not open. You'll see why in a second, but you can do that if you're stuck. The one thing I wouldn't do is, yes, you're taking it out of their view, but don't take it out of their view like saying, oh, put it in my coat pocket, to hide things. Don't keep it off of view. If you wanted to, you're at a restaurant, a walk around gig, doing something like that, a wedding, and everybody has suits, ties, you can open up somebody's jacket pocket, a guest, and go, you can put it there, but because they know they're not with you, it's actually happening. The coffee cup, that's why I kept it out here. Nothing was switched, nothing, anything. Anyway, that said, you ready?
Yeah.
Fun. This is fun. It takes a little bit of thinking, because you got to remember the pieces. It's all in the book. It's all in the book. Okay. The first 2-3 times you do it, you'll understand what's happening.
And this is the 3-way test on page 319.
Perfect. What is the goal behind this whole thing? You are misinforming them from the get-go. There is very little that you're saying you're doing that you're actually doing at the time you do it. Run that by. So
Drew,
experiment number one.
I'm sorry to interrupt you. It is now about 4:45. So we have a lot to get through. So I just wanted to tip you off about the time.
All right, I'm gonna move as quick as we can then,
Okay.
because I think the next thing coming up is even more fun than this.
Okay.
Piece of paper. We're going to the first spectator. And in my head, they're labeled A, B, C. You can call them experiment 1, experiment 2, but the book is experiment A, B, and C. So I go to John. John, how much you guys heard me do it. I think you can go back and review what we say later on. But I asked John, bottom line, hold money in your hand. I don't want to see it. I don't want to know what's there. I'm going to make a prediction. I do not know what he has. So what I'm going to write down on my piece of paper, which is blank, I'm going to write, because I'm going to force it later on, the circle. And I know where I'm going down the road. So I'm going to write down the circle, regardless of what he's doing. So now I rip off the piece of paper and I say, we are going to label this experiment A.
But it's
And I misinform you because I put it as, I write experiment C. And it goes in the cup away from everybody. Done. Out of sight, out of mind. John, what did you have? He had 73 cents. I remember 73 cents. I go to our next spectator, Julie. We talk with Julie. We let her concentrate on 3 items, 4 items, 10 items. It really doesn't matter. Julie picked whatever she picks. I don't know yet, but let me think about it. What am I writing down? 73 cents. I write down what John told me. 73 cents. And I'm telling you, I'm labeling this because this is Julie, experiment B. But I don't, because this is John. So I write experiment A. So now I have this, what I want. And I go to Julie. Julie, what did you concentrate on? What did you do? And she said matches. 2 down, 1 to go. I now go to Karen and I say, Karen, we're going to do something. And let me think about this before we do it. And instead of writing down what Karen would do, I write down matches. What Julie did. I now take the piece of paper out, fold it up, and say, we are going to call this, Julie's experiment B.
But that's not what you tell the audience.
But that's not what I tell them. I'm doing Karen, and I say we are doing, in my head, I'm writing down B, but we are doing experiment C, and I write down B. And that goes in the cup. You are done. You are done. The only thing now is to get Karen to do what I want Karen to do, and this goes to that magician's force.
great force.
I need Karen to pick the circle. We are going to do this quick. It is probably in the book, but my goal, where is it? Is to have Karen pick the circle. But I want her to appear she has a choice. So a couple of things can happen, and this is where you're working on the fly. Your end game is to have the circle. Now, a couple of things can happen. I can say, we've got these symbols. Karen pick one, and Karen picks the circle outright. Karen, all I want you to do is just, actually what I said was pick 2. And you could pick these 2. Perfect. Which leaves me with the circle. And we're done. That's the easiest. Karen didn't want to play easy. We had to go one more. So Karen said, I said pick 2. and Karen went, let's say, circle and square. So the plus sign comes out of play. I still need to get to the circle. So now I say, okay, you pick one more. And she picked the square. I says, great, that leaves me with the circle. She could have picked the circle at that moment. Okay, pick one. Circle. Perfect. We'll go with the circle. You pick the circle. So it's a lot of verbal volley at this point. Think of it like a flow chart. You're starting with some objects, and you know you need to get to one of them. So you start here, you know where you're starting and you know where you're ending. What you say in between gets you to that point. So again, very, very simple. I want to get to the circle. I just say, pick two. Now, if she picked these two, I'm done. I'm left with the circle. Pick two. I now got rid of one. I'm still in my flow chart. Great. Pick one. She picks the circle. Perfect. We'll use the circle. She picks the square. Perfect. That leaves me the circle. And then we just move on. When it's done quickly, it makes more sense. And it goes back to what we said before. It's your confidence. Because people go, well, that'll never work. It's your confidence. It's still your character. It's you make the rules. They're just following. And they really don't know here what's happening. Now, let me use this the same way. Going back to the magazine. I could have 3 magazines up. 3 magazines. Okay. I want, this is my gimmicked magazine. So I got 3 magazines here. I got Reader's Digest, Popular Mechanics, and Better Homes and Garden. Karen, do me a favor, take 2 of them.
I'll take, I'm sorry, they were.
It doesn't matter. You do the
okay. The square and 0, whatever they represent.
Okay, so you want the square and the circle. That's perfect. So we have 2. You know what? Pick one more. What do you like?
Oh, let's go with the square.
All right, so great. You like the square, leaves me with the circle. Perfect. Let's move on. And that's our decision. Very, very simple. It's just a little verbal thing. And if you think about it, you know where you're beginning and you know where you're ending. And just sit down with it in your own head and go, okay, you're asking them the same thing really each time. Take 2. You're not telling them to pick one. You're not saying to choose one. Okay, because if I said, Karen, choose one, and you said the square, great, then we have 2 more. It's the verbal there doesn't work. Pick one, take one. Actually, pick, stay away from.
Yeah, point
Just-
to one.
Yeah, just take 2. Take the. I'm not going to tell you why. I just need you to take 2. What 2 would you like? And if you went with these 2, you're leaving me here. Perfect. You left me with this. Take 2. Beautiful. Take one more. And now the only sentence that changes is if you took this. Perfect. You leave me with this. And you go on. If you took the circle, take one. Perfect. Let's use that. Now, that's magician's choice. Same thing again, like I said, with the magazines. You can do 3 magazines and do that magician's choice to get to the magazine that you want. And then with that, if you have the X in here, but the other 2 don't have X's, you can show, I've got these, do not show the gimmicked one, but you can show the other 2. I've got magazines that have thousands of words, thousands of pictures, whatever, but you still force that one. Any questions on that or anything along those lines?
I just wanted to say this reminded me of something I learned a very long time ago. It was a similar concept but with playing cards. And the way you did it is like you peaked one and then you're ahead one all the time.
It's
It's the same, it's the same concept.
Same concept. Let's say you don't want to, I'll just do this one quick one. You don't have, you don't want to do the 3 symbols. The key to this whole thing is that I know one thing that's happening. I know I'm getting to that circle. So the first thing I draw when I'm talking to the first spectator is the circle, and then label that C. But if I don't have that, you can take a deck of cards and you can do an old thing, say, Valerie, do me a favor, just say stop. I'm going to keep going. Just say stop.
Stop.
Okay. Should I keep going or you're okay?
I'm okay.
Okay. And you're going to pick the 8 of diamonds. Okay. Let's say for the sake of argument, you said, no, no, keep going. Okay. Say stop.
Stop.
Okay. Are you good or should I keep going?
No, keep going.
Say stop.
Stop.
You're still going to pick the 8 of diamonds. Okay. So I know where that's going. Okay. One more time, just say stop.
Stop.
Okay. You're picking the 8 of diamonds. How do I know that's the 8 of diamonds? Well, this is a Svengali deck. No matter what you do, you're picking the 8 of diamonds. So this is whether you stop me here, and I can be as fair as I want. That's the 8 of diamonds. You want to keep going? You want to stop me there? That's the 8 of diamonds. You want to keep going? You know, stop me wherever. That's the 8 of diamonds. So you can, if you've got a known thing, you can apply it here too. That you can force a card, let's say. If you're good at forcing cards and you don't need the deck, you can do that too. You can force a card. I think you guys need the crisscross force or something. It definitely works in this as well. It's one more thing, and people know cards. Hopefully that helped. Okay, I want to jump into, if I can.
Okay, before we move
Yep.
on, sorry, before we move on,
Yeah, like I said.
we have, just because I know people are going to need to step out shortly, we have a couple of people who have not yet volunteered to do a magic trick, to perform something that the group has learned.
Okay,
Larry?
Sarah, I'll do 3-way test. How's that?
Larry gets the 3-way test. You got it. Okay.
All right.
Fantastic. And Paul,
You
That
select for me.
say again.
You select for me.
Well, that's you. You're getting the magazine.
Okay.
Great. All right, fantastic. And now, because I know some people have to leave on the dot. They have other obligations and plans. And we have one more piece, which is one more piece to learn today, which is the
This is the center tear.
center tear, which is covered on page 327. And of course, anybody who has to leave, we will miss you, but you can always watch it on the on YouTube, catch the replay later. So, also, before we move on, what are your thoughts? Can you just raise your hand if you want the show that's coming up in a month, or 4 weeks rather, show private for family and friends? Okay, a few people. Who wants to do a show for the SAM at large? Who open it up and invite? Okay, we have kind of a mixed bag. All right, well, okay, we'll do a more thorough questioning, and we'll vote. We'll do a little poll and let everybody vote. If you have an idea of what you want to do for the show, feel free to email that to me. Larry, you had a virtual hand up, and then Eric, you have your physical hand up. Yes, Larry?
That was just me voting for yes, let's make it for Sam.
make it, open it up? Okay, and Eric?
Yeah, you mentioned with Drew, the book club thing,
Yes.
and I'm interested in that, though I am going to have to step away.
Okay, can you, if you look through the email that I sent you,
Mhm.
the first email that I sent about, actually, I think it was in this morning's first email too, had information about the book club and Drew's email address. If you can't find it, let me know and I will happily send you the link and send you, tell you how to reach Drew to sign up for the book club. It'll be on George Schindler's Magic with Everyday Objects. And we'll be working our way through the book, learning the material in it chapter by chapter.
Yeah, we're starting
Okay.
Tuesday night.
I'll contact Drew. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. The other thing, and I will ask this, and I'll figure out a way to poll in a more careful manner. But I don't want to turn anybody off of performing. If people are really uncomfortable performing for people that they don't know and would pull out of the show if they can't restrict it to family and friends, let me know, and that'll definitely put a thumb on the scales. Okay, but I will do a more formal or I'll do a Google poll or something, and you can all give me your thoughts because it was fairly well split. All right, thank you, Drew. I'm going to turn it over to you for the center tear, and I'll see you in 2 weeks if you have to leave.
Okay, I don't know if I blanked on my screen. Okay, I'm back.
Yeah, you froze for a second.
Yeah. All right, the center tear. I want to apologize ahead of time to everybody because the center tear is a gateway trick to billet routines, to billet peaks, billet tears. You may wind up in peak wallets. I don't know. This is something that will definitely lead to other things. And I will tell you, it is probably one of the best things you'll ever learn in your life. The center tear in itself, I want to stress this, is not a trick. The center tear itself is not the trick. You're never going to come out and tell somebody, hey, let me show you my center tear. We're going to do the cups and balls. We're going to do the glass through the table, and we're going to do the center tear. You're never going to do that. The center tear is invisible. It's something that happens as you're supposedly doing something else or because you're doing something else. In its simplest form, which is what you have in the book, is a little outdated. And I'll tell you why. And the center tear itself has been around forever. It's one of the things you may see in a children's magic book. Am I sharing that screen?
Yes.
Okay. So this is something that we found a couple weeks back. It's in the book. If you can see the 1962, and you can see them going through the center tear. That they're teaching it way back when. The reason why I bring all this up is at the very end, and we're going to talk about this, we're going to do it, is you're burning it. You're putting it in an ashtray and you're burning the evidence, literally. Okay. Can't do that so much anymore. So there are ways around it. There are ways to get past that. But I only brought this to you because way back when, you see these hands? You see this? This is a little 8-year-old boy demonstrating all this. So this was the kid who was lighting the fire, lighting the matches, doing whatever. That to me was fun. That how things change, that we can't even do them anymore. But that said, the center tear is a way of excuse me, a way of gaining information that you should probably have no way of knowing. If you got the template, or did something with the circle on it. The reason why I asked you to do this, it'll give you an idea of where the information is at all times. Because now what you're doing, what you're telling somebody is you're giving them a piece of paper and you're pre-folding it. I'll go through this in a second. And you're going to have them write, let's say this blue circle's information, write their name, write a 3-digit number. What's your lucky number? Where's a place in the world you'd like to go vacation? We'll talk about presentation in a minute, but you're asking for a specific piece of information. And in the book, you're folding it. Let me come down here. What you're doing, this is the interior, and this is where you're having them write something. And you'll have the page folded once and twice. With the center tear, basically, it doesn't really make a difference if you fold it, excuse me, over once, then down, or down and over. The key is this information, regardless, is always going to be here. So if we folded it inside out, that circle, this is the center of that piece of paper. And that's where the information, when you fold it like that in half and in half again, that's where the information is. That's where the secret information is. That's where the hidden information is. Is everybody with me so far? Okay, because this is where, this is the piece of paper, this is the, that you need to protect. So what you're doing is you're asking somebody to write a something. And then when they fold it, it's on the inside. I'm going to leave it on the outside so you can see what's happening. You're going to take that piece of paper, and let me just show you one more thing. Where it is. It's here in the center. So for your own visual cue, that's the inside. That's a sharp corner. There are no edges. Out here are the edges, you know, the little slips, but here it's all solid. There's no pieces of paper. Does that make sense? This is the solid pointy corner. So at least you know when it's hand, you know where that information is. So the center tear is very, very simple. You're ripping that piece of paper lengthwise in half. Now remember where it is. You put that in front, which is behind, which is your front. You're looking at it. This is your view. Turn it. What is that, 90 degrees? Over, just a complete, from vertical to horizontal. And know that the information you're looking for is here. And then just rip it again in half. You're making a mess. And then it goes back to you. And that circle, that information is here. Now, the center tear that you're going to see in the book at this point is you're going to put it in an ashtray, except you're holding back that piece, and I'll go through that. And what you've done in that ripping is you've preserved that whole bit of information. So keeping it on the inside now, and let's say, let's do this. I don't know if we were right on this. So I have some information. We close it up. And like I said, no, it's here. It's in that pointy bit. Rip it once. The information comes to the front. From vertical to horizontal, and you can still see it. You can still see that oval in there. Rip it again. information comes in the back. And then right here, you can get rid of the pieces in an ashtray or something, but just so when you open it up, you see everything. You have all that information. And that's the key to the center tab. The thing now is, let's do this. This is the same thing. It's just a different look to it. Okay, so I'm going to take some information. That is not the right marker to write with. Now you would have these pre-folded, but you're folding. And again, the corner. Does this make sense where the information is? Okay, this is why if you take that square, don't fold it on the inside. Fold it once, vertical, and then horizontal. And you see where the circle is? If that was inside, that's where the information is. So just keep this, one of them aside so you can see where things are. Okay? So that information is here. And again, tearing once, bringing it to the front, to you. I should say to the back based on a spectator, but you're bringing it to you. You're still seeing it. Your thumb is on it. You're in control of it. Vertical or horizontal. Tear again. Bringing the pieces again to you. This is the piece. If you didn't want to burn it, you can't burn it anymore. There are other the way they used to do it is they would take that and burn it. As the spectator is lighting the matches and watching the flame, the presenter would walk away and open it in his hand and read it as he's on the other side of the room. And then he would come back and look at the burning embers and tell you what was in here after he would take this and crunch it up and put it in his pocket. A little bit, you just can't do that anymore. You could. But if you were to, let's just, again, keep it. Done. Again, ripped in half, closer to you, vertical to horizontal, rip again, closer to you. You can, and this is where it takes a little guts, let's say. Give them the pieces. What's happening, you're holding back one. Regardless of what you did, whether it's in an ashtray or whatever, you're just pulling back. That's all you're doing. You're holding back that one piece. You're just pulling it back as you're, I want to get that right, as you're giving it to somebody. And it's here. You're in a palm. You're holding it with your thumb. It doesn't have to be a really good palm at this point, but it's here. They think they have everything, and this is where you got to make them believe they do have everything. Could they open it up and look? Sure. That's where it takes a little bit of guts for you then to open it somehow, drop it on the table, on your lap, behind a pad. You know, hey, let me take some notes. And you're reading it. So hopefully that makes a little sense. But what it looks like is this. Let me show you from the front. But based out of the book, you're giving someone the piece of paper. They're writing something on it. It's here. It's here. They hand it back to you. You're looking at the point. You're feeling it. You know that's where the information is. And that's what you're protecting. And all it is a rip. You're bringing the information back to you, behind, over. Ripping again, the information is behind. That's where it is. And at this point, if you were to give it to somebody, I've just pulled it back. I withheld, I pulled back. Some of the information said, here, cup out your hands, you hold these. But meanwhile, I have the piece in my hand that I can come down to my lap and read it and do and get whatever information I want. The key is, this is not the trick. The center tear is not the trick. The center tear is just a way of getting the information that you can do something, not predict, but say someone's name or discover a number that they're thinking of. You can do it with index cards. You can do it with, these are business cards that I got at Staples, Office Max. These are Avery's. They're just computer business cards that you would send through your printer to print up cards. I'm going to talk a little about presentation. Why do you have somebody write it down? Let me move this for a second. Everybody asks for justification. You know, why do you have them write it down? Again, it goes before we said it's your rules. I need you to write this down. But if you need justification, you're only a little bit of clip art away. You can, like I said, print out these blank business cards, and we're going to go through that and just do it, just so you have cards with you and do it. You can, well, I have them out here. Tell somebody, I just want you to write it in my crystal ball because I don't have a crystal ball with me. And it's the same thing, it's in the center. It's all presentational ideas. Or these are all the prints of the crystal balls I did that I can cut up and do later. But yeah, let's show these. This is, the clouds are a good one. Printed on a business card or not, you can just cut it off of this. I want you to think of something. I want you to dream of something. If you can dream of anything you'd like or anything you want to be or anywhere you want to go, whatever you want to say, just write it in the clouds. You know, same thing with the sun in the clouds. Put it within the rainbow. You know, what's something, a dream that you have, a goal, something you wish for, you know, you can do that. The world. Anywhere you'd like to take a vacation, maybe somewhere you haven't been before, or maybe someplace you'd love to go back to, write it in the center, focus on it, and just little reasons to write it down. The one thing, well, let me do this. I know I shot through that rather quickly. It is in the book, but are there any questions? Nope, good. I was going to, that's the center tear. I'll say it this way. That's the center tear. It's a way to gain information. What the next step in a center tear is a center tear with a peak that you can see the information as you're ripping and you're not hiding pieces that you're taking away or anything like that.
Can you, before you move on to that, can you talk a little bit about the reveal?
Mm-hmm. Well, that's going to be part of this.
Oh, okay.
No, that's fine. That's fine. Because let me show this. I'm going to use index cards. The index cards are nice because they're larger. It's easier to see. People are used to index cards. I would also suggest if you're going to go do the index card route, go to the dollar store and get them. They're cheaper. It's a cheaper quality paper. It's easier to tear. So A regular index card will work, it's fine, but just to put more things in your favor. Presentation and reveal and things like that. I'm gonna talk as we go along, if that's okay. I was given permission, I'm gonna say this, am I allowed to mention a magic shop?
With the understanding that the SAM does not
Does not support, does not endorse, does not.
endorse any particular magic shop.
No, not at all.
Okay.
I just happen to know you can get it here. There's a gentleman out there by the name of Stuart Palm. And he has a tear that's called Nebula. It is very close to just a simple rip, and I'll show it. He's given me permission to show it and share it. But I would suggest if you go to Penguin, it's a $10 download. There'll be a lot more information there. Very, very good stuff, but he's allowing me to give you the basics and a little bit here to do. Let me come back down here for a second. Okay. What I want you guys to do is to, let's move this. You have your index card, right? Now it's going to be a lot. It's going to sound like a lot of steps right now. But I'm gonna make you do 2 or 3 of these so you have a template. If you get the download, you'll have more to do. You can watch this back. But if you have the index card, look at it like an index card. Okay, the lines are the front, the blank is the back. Can you do it unlined? Absolutely. I'm going to show you that with an unlined business card. But put some more things in your favor right now. This is bigger. It'll be fun. So you have the index card. What I want you to do is to fold it in half. Now, don't do it yet. Let me go through the step first. Is fold it in half like a book. Do not go edge to edge. See how it's edge to edge? Go a little bit further. Let me do this. Go a little bit. There you go. Don't fold it completely edge to edge. Go a little bit further. How much is a little bit further? Up to you, doesn't matter. But your goal is to have a little lip. Okay, you with me so far on that? You guys can fold it in half a little bit further. Just give me a thumbs up when you guys got it. Cool. Now you're going to fold it in half again, but from bottom to top. Let's do this way. So from bottom to top, and you're also going to give yourself a little bit of a lip. Now, whether you do it short or whether you do it long, totally up to you. I do it short. So now you have a lip here. There's a reason for all this, and I'll go through it. So far, you guys should have a card folded like that, correct? In a book, a little bit longer. And from the bottom to the top, a little bit shorter. Everybody with me? Okay. This is where this is going to, now, you don't need to do any of that. It just makes it easier. And right now, this is going to make it even easier. If you're holding it like this and you bring it to you that you're looking at it, the card's going to pop open a little bit. It's automatic. It just does it. So you have a front edge and a back. You have a front and a back. Go to the back. Use your thumb, open it up just a little bit and press down. And you see where you're getting a triangle? Complete that. Make like a little piece of origami. The reason for this, again, it's not necessary, but later on as you're doing it, you see how it just pops open a little bit more? It just makes life easier for you. So if you're with me so far, you folded it in half and there's a little lip. You folded it up, there's a little lip. You went to the back one, put your thumb in, pressed, and we all have something that looks similar to this. Cool. We're going to do two more things. If it's folded, just spin it this way. And you'll know it's right. Because if you can see up here, you see the crease? That's the crease from the other fold. When you folded before, when you stuck your thumb in, that's the crease here. All you're going to do is draw an X there and a line. We're going to put some information there later. Open it up. Now, here, because you have the lines, the index card lines, you know you're right because it looks right. But on the blank card, you may not see that. Those creases that you made before here, that you see here, you also see on the inside. And you see how it's kind of making a Y? Okay. Look at it like a Y. You're going to make an X there. Draw your line because that's where someone's going to write some more information. And the card itself is set. Does everybody have it?
So we've got 2 X's and 2 lines, one on the front, one on the back.
Yep. We are going to, let's do that. It's folded in half, and you have an X on the outside of the card. This is going to go to presentation later. And you have an X on the inside.
Okay.
Right below that Y scape and a little bit below center. Everybody good with that? All right, what I'd like you to do is to close up the card. Come back up to the top and push that piece in that you have this. Does everybody have that? Good, because I want you to do is take this and put it aside. Just put it aside, get rid of it. Because that is your personal template. For when you do these later, you now have something to look at that you know is right. So going back to the beginning, take another card. Why can't I find my center? Okay, there we go. Take another card, again, fold it in half, not all the way, just a hair more. So you have that lip. Okay, fold it from bottom to top, a little short. So again, you have a lip. Everybody with me? Okay, looking at it, let it pop open. You have a bottom and a top, or let me phrase it, you have a front and a back. Go to the back, put your thumb in, push down a little bit, and you make that triangle. It just makes life simpler later. Come back to the fold. Turn this over. You'll know you're orientated correctly because you'll see that crease in the upper right corner. This is where you draw your first X and a line. Doesn't have to be in the center, doesn't have to be in the top. It could be anywhere you want in here, but I'll show you what's going to happen there in a second. Open up. Now I opened up incorrectly because it's an index card. I know it's wrong, but if you're following those creases, you can see almost an invisible Y, and you want to look at the Y. So you draw another X right below center of the card, a line, and you're going to have information put in there. Is everybody with me? Okay, I'm going to show you what's happening. So you have the card, you're in your presentation, and you go to somebody. I want you to think of somebody close to you. I want you to think of somebody who maybe isn't here at the moment with us at the table, but someone who you know, someone who's close to you, someone who means something to you. So this person is going to write that name in the center. So they write Diane. Then you have them close up the card and you say, great. On the line that's out there, what I want you to do is I want you to personalize this even more. I want you to write your name. So they're going to write their name. And their name is Jack. And if anybody gets Jack and Diane, you're my buddies. Okay, so. The reason why you have them write their name up front, it's I don't want to say it's a distraction, but they get to see lettering, they get to see writing. If something flashes down the road, they can assume it's this. I will say this is coming from Stuart Palm's Nebula, but there is so much on the center tear. The other one to reach out to is Richard Osterland's perfected center tear. Another name out there is Richard Bush. Alan Zing, Rand Pink. There is so many different ones and so many incorporate so many different ideas. I know this is probably a Richard Osterland idea of drawing the name up front, but do that. The reason is too, this is your view, by the way. You know, you're doing all this. You take back the card. I just did something I wasn't supposed to do. Hold that. Let's spotlight and let's go back up to the front view. Okay. I showed you all that to show you this. You're writing all that down. What the spectator sees, you guys right now are Jack. So we've given you the card. You've written. You've given me the card back. Two things are happening. If I was doing this, one of the presentations, if you're doing it for one person, two people, three people, you may not want to have them get any idea that you're looking at the card. So you can say, just do all that and put it in my hand. Here's where a couple of the things come into play of the folds that we did and why. We know that the fold, that the center, based on this, some things don't change. When you fold it, it's in that corner piece. You can feel it. It's the hardest part. There's no loose edges. That's the center. Because you made that first fold, a little bit longer and you have that lip, when you close the card, that lip is there. So if you're not looking, you can orientate the card in your hand, one, by feeling this, two, by feeling that lip. So without looking, you say that it can come back to me in any way, shape, or form. Am I in frame? Yeah, I can come back to you in any way, shape, or form, and I know that's where it is because I can feel it. So it's a tactile thing. The reason why you have them, and does that make sense so far? You don't have to do that. It just makes it easier. In another presentation, you may say, just give me the card. And Jack, you can see your name, right? And Jack can see his name, but you can't see anything else. Okay, but you can see your name, right? Okay. The other thing I will mention with this tear, I'm saying 1, 2, 3 people, and I'll show you again from behind. You can do this surrounded. There is nothing to see. I'm not hiding anything. I am, but you're not. It's very open. And all you're doing is, and I'll show you, let me do it. I'll show you, I'll tell you what's happening, and then I will show you if that makes sense. So, but you're talking to Jack. Jack, you can see your name, but you can't see anything else. And what's going to happen? You're having a conversation with Jack. We'll talk about the conversation in a minute. But you're doing, I want to stay in frame. Normally, I might not be looking, but I want to stay in frame. I want to just talk. You're going slow. You're having a conversation. You see how open the pieces are? For you guys, there is nothing to see. So anybody who's around, anybody who's doing anything, there's nothing there. There's nothing to hide. You can be as open and as casual as you want with this. Now, I will tell you right now, like I said, you're being open and casual. I'm staring right at the piece. I'm staring at Diane. Okay. So in this, and I'll turn back around.
Can you see the name, or you
Yeah.
can, or you just
I'm
see
staring. I will show you from behind.
okay.
But what you're looking at, what I'm looking at, you're looking at this. Actually, you're looking at this. But if I was to raise my fingers, you see all this going on back here?
Uh-huh.
That's what I'm looking at.
And you can oh, okay. So you can actually see the name. So you unfolded the piece.
Mhm. Yep. I will go through everything from behind.
Okay.
But from a
Can you-
spectator's view, this is what you're looking at. And it's casual, it's open, it's whatever. And then I can just refold it, which is what I'm doing right now. Still talking, continuing my tears, destroying whatever evidence there might be, and I can give them all the pieces. And if somebody was to reconstruct this, let me go through it. There's nothing to see. They're going to see torn pieces. And you can walk away clean. It's a great, great little tear. Let me come back behind.
Okay. So the basic idea is that as you are tearing the pieces apart, you isolate that centerpiece with the name in it. You unfold it. You get your look, and then you tear it along with the other scraps to hide the dirty work.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
Cool.
Let me take you a little bit behind the scenes, but I wanted you to see what a spectator sees. And what a spectator sees is
Nothing.
nothing. And again, you can do it surrounded, because even at that one point where I was being blatant and go here, there isn't anything to see. There is a point that you're going to have to hide a little bit, but let me do that. Okay, I'm back here. Let's do this. And again, I'm going to do this again because I want you to get the fold. I'm taking the card, folding it a little bit further than center. I'm folding it up a little bit less than the top. It automatically opens. See, the card automatically does this. This is me doing nothing. But I'm helping myself out. I'm going to the back, putting my thumb in, squeezing a little bit, and helping it out on that side, making that triangle. It just makes life simpler down the road. I'm going to write an X there for someone to write their name in the front of the card. I'm going to, if you see where the Y is, here and here, this is the center fold. I'm putting the X below that center fold. So it's not really center, it's below center where you're drawing the line. So we'll go through presentation later, but I want to do technique first. You have someone write a name. It could be a name, it could be a date, it could be anything you want. And they're going to sign their name. Now, you saw it from Jack's perspective. Let me show you from our perspective and take you through it. So you're going to Jack. Jack, you can see your name, but you can't see anything else. Correct? Correct. Couple of things going on. You know how I said, keep the lip here and then keep that little lip on the top? Okay, this is what Jack is looking at. Jack is looking at, you're Jack now. Jack is looking at his name. This is you performing 4-jack. You've got when you fold these together, you got 4 pieces of card here. That top lip gives you 2 pieces. It's just easier to start the tear. That's the only reason why you do that smaller fold here, that you don't fold edge to edge. It's just easier to make that tear, to get that first tear. Okay? What's happening is with your left hand, you're tearing forward. And you can go nice and neat here, but at the very end, a little bit of a jagged, just a vicious tear. And what you want to do is, after you make that tear, is turn this from vertical to horizontal and put it your perspective in the front. Everything I'm talking about now is your perspective. Tear, turn it vertical to horizontal, and put it in front. The nice thing about the tear is you're starting off nice, and then when you rip, you're automatically doing that turn. It's not a nice, and then you'll see when you actually rip, your hand automatically turns. Catch that? It automatically turns. And just put that piece in the front. Okay, what you're doing
away from
now.
you, right?
Sorry?
Away from you.
Away from you.
Okay.
Yep, away from you. Now what you're doing, now also understand, when you're in original position, here's the information. This is the center of the card. If you were to fold this back up with this, that's where we're at. That's where the information's hiding. Okay? So you rip, do that turn, put it in front. Push it out a little bit. Now, again, this is the information. So it's rip, turn, in the front, a little bit of a push. Now you want this piece. And what you're doing is the edge of the card is a guide. So now you can just tear a little bit. And as you tear back, it just automatically works off that guide. So now I've got a piece. This is the information. When I go to put these pieces back up, you see how it popped open? It's tear and turn, and it's the same thing where you turned here. Your hand automatically turns vertical here. From the vertical, I'm sorry, to the horizontal. Just automatically does it. And if you just release pressure a little bit, you see how that card popped open? I'm not doing anything. You see how the card popped open? That's what you want, because you're going to help it open up and then come here. And all you're doing is showing pieces. Nothing's done. You still can't see anything. And if anybody's staring at you watching, there isn't anything to see. And you can be as open and as casual as you'd like. Here's where things got to be more protective, because the information is here. That's the information. But how do you get there? I'm holding this as freely as I can. You get to a point where you tell somebody, and we'll do presentation in a minute. It's not so much that you can peek, it's when you peek. Now, remember that triangle fold we asked you to do before? That's opening up here. That's helping you get your thumb in there. It also helps, I didn't bite this nail, so that thumb nail will get in there a little bit too. What you're looking to do is that. And you see all the information nice and clean. That's what you want to do. That you're from here to there. Now, if you remember what the front looked like at this moment, Don't be scared. Because if you remember what the front looked like, this is what they're looking at. There isn't anything, you know, you're covered. There isn't anything to see. But meanwhile, you're staring at everything. Everything is wide open for you. Oops. Everything is wide open. This is what you're looking at. This is your hands. You see everything clear as day. Now, the other thing too is you're not sitting here reading. It's a quick peek. You're doing something, and I'll explain in a second, and you're done. And you're still having a conversation, and you're still tearing, and they don't know what you're tearing. You're still doing. And at this point, once you get it, you can tear any which way you want. Just, you know where the piece is, just destroy it. And you're done. Here's the conversation. Now, well, let me ask the question. Is everybody okay with that so far? You're probably not going to get it 1, 2, 3, but you can go back to it here. If you go get Stewart's Nebula program, it's all there. But go ahead. Henry looks like he has something. Nope. Okay, so I'm just going to go back and refold. Fold it as a book. Leave a little bit of a lip. Fold it up. Leave a little bit of a short edge. Go back in and do this, that triangle. Here, here. You'll see the crease. So you know you can draw that line. And you have that. That was the boring technical stuff. Here is the, let's go with a presentation real quick. And it'll give you motivation for tearing. It'll give you motivation for what you might be doing and when you're peaking and how you're peaking. And the how you peak comes from Richard Osterland. It is the best way to do it, to find a justification to do it. All right, so you got the name. We're going to go back with Diane. And you're going to tell somebody, okay, let's take you through a presentation that this might go through. Do me a favor, sir. I want you to write down the name of someone that you know, someone you have a close connection with. And let's make it more interesting. Let's not write the name of someone who is with us right now. Someone who I couldn't guess at, I couldn't possibly know, but you have a close connection with. Write down their name, and they do. And what I'd like you to do, just to personalize it even more, is write your name on the front. And they do. They give you back the card, or you take the card, and you're like, well, you can see your name, but you can't see anything else, right? Great. Now, between you and I, the trick, again, isn't the center tear. The piece of paper they're going to forget about eventually. What they're going to remember is your conversation with them, your connection with them. You ask them to write someone on that piece of paper that's close to them. So now you just continue. And as you're continuing your tearing, the person that you're thinking of, yeah, they are close to you. Are you related? Now, as you're doing, I want to go through the tear again. Forward a little bit, and then a violent rip. And in that rip, you're doing making it from vertical to horizontal, and it goes in the front. But you're still having a conversation. The person is close to you. I could see that. Are you related to them? And they'll answer you. You're having a conversation. Yeah, I am kind of related to them. That front piece gets pushed out a little bit. So now you see the information here. And then what you're doing is you're tearing back, and using the rest of the card as a guide to tear. And in that tear, your vertical piece becomes horizontal, and it'll automatically pop open. And you push up here. The information is there. The information is in this big piece, but you're still having a conversation with them. I'll do it from the front. You're still having a conversation with them. That opens up. You see the name, you see it. You can destroy it any way you want, and you're done. Let me do the presentation from facing you guys. But let me set up the card one more time. Again, forward, fold it in half like a book, go a little bit further. Fold it up, bottom to top, a little bit lower. So you have that lip. Put your thumb in, get that triangle, down, over, you see the crease. That's the first. This over, and you've got that. Okay, let me come to here. All right, let me, because it's a sit. So all I'm doing now, you're having, oh, do me a favor. I'd like you to write somebody's name on the card, somebody that you're close to. And let's do one better. Someone who's not here with us at the table right now. So I couldn't possibly guess who this person would be. And they write the name down. Do me a favor, close back up the card, and I want you to write your name on the front. You're going to personalize it just a little bit more. Perfect. Now, you can see your name, but you can't see anything else through it. Correct? Correct. I have the card back. Wow, this person really is close to you. Are you related? And they may say no, yes, whatever. Wow, I can really. Have you ever been in this person's home? Yeah, I've been there. All right, what I want you to do, I want you to imagine sitting in their living room, looking out their window. What do you see? And they're going to tell you trees, grass, whatever. Interesting. Do you have a, do me a favor, take your hands. I want you to cup your hands out just like that. Great. And what they're doing is you're doing, I don't know what I see here. Cup your hands this way. And they do that. This person that you're thinking of, do you have their phone number in your phone? Yes, I do. Okay, if you were to call this person, you would give me your hands again. Boom, that all the pieces go in there. And if you were to call this person, think about this person. If you were to call this person, you hit them on speed dial, the phone would ring. They would pick up the phone and you would say, hello, Diane. Hello, Diane, how are you? And you're done. They, believe me, they freak out at that. And in all of that, it's slow tears. Let me come back this way. Hopefully this is making sense. What I'm trying to get across is you're having a conversation. The center tear isn't what's important. It's just something that's going on. And you're trying to make a connection with somebody as you're doing it. I'm just refolding up the card here so it goes a little bit quicker.
Yeah,
And
the important thing is it's all about the interaction. This kind of magic is all about the interaction between the magician and the spectator, and you can talk to them, ask them questions, really engage with them. And this is a chance for them to kind of lead the conversation a little bit. And, then while you're doing the dirty work, if you are casual about it, nobody will be looking.
Yep. What I'm trying to do in 30 seconds could last a minute or two, because there is no real interaction going here. But again, the card is folded up the way we said. I'm going to do it again from behind. I have Diane and I have Jack. Jack's name is just there for camouflage, and they can see what's happening. So, and I'll try and get to the point of the peak itself too. Again, it's not going to be that much interaction with this, so I'll just go through a, like I
Drew,
said, a
Drew,
basic script.
why don't
Yeah.
you perform it like I'm Jack?
All right, we can do that. So what I'd like you to do me a favor. I want you to write the name of somebody that's on this X here close to you, someone who you really care about. And let's make it even more interesting. Someone who's not here with us right now.
Okay.
At this table. So there's no way I can even guess who this person is. So Jack has the card, Jack writes the name, and do me a favor, Jack, write your name on the front here. Cool. That personalizes it even more for us. So I'm showing it, I'm going to do it low, but I'm showing it to Jack. Jack, you can see your name, right? But can you see anything else?
No.
No, you just see your name. Good. So yeah, Jack, this person is close to you. Are you related to them?
Yes.
Nice. How are you related?
We're married.
Okay, that's related. So obviously you've been in the home. So let me ask you a question. Let me get this in frame here. Thank you. Imagine standing in your living room and looking out from the living room. What do you see?
Railroad tracks.
Railroad tracks. Okay, I'm going to backtrack 1 second. I am out of frame, but you can see behind you. Even if somebody's standing behind you, nobody sees anything. I want to be clear with that. There's nothing to see. And without going crazy, Sarah and I, Jack and I can have a conversation. We can go in so many different ways. We can talk, we can connect. And even if I'm casual here, there's nothing to see. So railroad tracks, we can talk about that. And I just want to get through this. This pops open and we're here. Now, the point where I had said, do me a favor, cup your hands. And I show them cupping the hands.
Mm-hmm.
Do me a favor, cup your hands. And that's the point. This opens. I'm looking down because it makes sense. I'm looking at their hands. So you're talking, and whatever point feels right to you, do me a favor, cup your hands. And I'm staring right at Diane. Now, I want to leave that for a second because I want to hammer a point.
Higher.
Yep. This is what they see. Do me a favor, cup your hands. There is nothing to see. And you're going through the motion of cup, and I can come down even lower. So understand there's nothing to see. This is the only point, though, that you may have to, do me a favor, cup your hands. You may have to protect yourself a little bit because there may be people behind you, but even looking, I can see right in there. But if you're doing it for 1, 2, 3 people, do me a favor, cup your hands. And in that instant, I've got it, I'm back, and it's closed. And you're closing it just with that other finger. And you're back to casual. And then a couple more questions. Obviously, they're married, so obviously you have her phone number on speed dial at this point. Now, I'm just ripping that one piece. And at this point, I'm just tearing pieces up. It makes no difference. So obviously you have that person's, number on speed dial. So when you were to call them and hit speed dial, the phone would ring and they would pick up, and you would say, "Oh, do me a favor, cup your hands back out again." And then all the pieces go in their hands. And then you end it with, in this particular case, the phone would ring, they would pick up the phone, and you would go, "Hello, Diane. Hi, Diane, how are you?" And it really is amazing when they catch the name. Now, they have the pieces. So if they were to look through this, which they don't, they're going to see their name. Yeah, there's a little bit of Diane. But it's ripped. They see what they expect to see. Torn pieces. But they don't look at that. This goes back to what we were saying before. Don't run when you're not being chased. Let me put this down. The center tear technique in the book is fine. This, I think, takes it up another level. That they get all the pieces, they get to do whatever. What I suggest, the last thing I'll mention on the center tear, is you get yourself a packet of index cards. Use the template. Just rip, tear, and shred. You will find yourself with a bucket full of cards. This was just this week. To do with anything with the mentalism. Hopefully you got something. But what I would suggest is don't worry about presentation right now, especially with the center tear. If you do it the way it's in the book, do it the way it's in the book. Just get the technique down. In your head, think information's there. And all you need to do is what do you need to do to protect that information that you know where it is. Run through it a couple times. And you'll get to the point where you know that where that's going to be. If you go to the next step and do the nebula tear, I would strongly suggest you can go through this and get a basic overview of it. Go get Stuart Palm's nebula itself. There's a lot more in there. He takes you through it. He takes you a lot more with presentation and conversation. But for the technique of the center tear, run through a packet of index cards. Just do it. You get the handling down, you'll learn it, and then apply a presentation of it. Questions, go slow. Best piece of advice I can give you, take your time. You're not in any rush. You're just talking.
Fantastic. Thank you so much. Any questions? Questions for Drew? I'm not seeing any waving hands, so I think we all have a lot to digest. I am gonna get the video up on YouTube as soon as I can, so that we'll all be able to watch this and rewatch the technique and the practice. Anything else?
I just want to say thank you, because I think you were really thorough, and I think I really understand the tricks well.
Oh, well, thank you. I just hope I didn't put anyone to sleep, but thank you.
My dog had to go out. I had to leave to go take my dog out. She came up to me, I gotta go, so I had to take her out. But anyway, it was great.
Good, thank you.
So
Thank you
much.
all. It was a great audience, and
Indeed. All right, then I will see you in. Oh, does anybody want to volunteer to perform something with the using the center tear? Anybody want to attempt that? Maybe somebody
use the
who
one
has-
that's in the book. Use the
maybe
one that's
somebody
in
who
the book.
has a volunteer that they can pick from home. All right, you'll think about it. Okay. All right, then I will see you all in 2 weeks for sponge balls. And please do email me if there's something that you want to put dibs on for the show. Otherwise, we will be discussing that in 2 weeks. Okay. Thank you all so much. Thank you so much, Drew. That was fantastic. That was, oh my gosh, that was so much material and a lot of meat to chew on.
Well, thank you. Thank you. Hopefully you got something. And quite honestly, Yumi's first 20 minutes of this whole thing was, we could have just ended there. So,
Drew, where do you live? What state do you live in?
I'm in New Jersey.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right. Okay, good to see everybody, and we'll see you again in 2 weeks. One more time, Drew, thank you.
Thanks a lot.
You guys, it's
Yeah, very
incredible that you've gone through eight lessons of these things, and just imagine what you knew when you first started to what you knew today.